The late evening shift in the small-town diner had stretched into silence when a cry broke the air like a shattering glass. Behind the counter, Marcus, a single dad and chef with tired eyes and flour still clinging to his apron, looked up to see a young baby girl sobbing uncontrollably at the corner booth. Her caretaker had stepped away, and the child's cries grew louder, piercing through the emptiness. Marcus felt something stirred deep in his chest, memory of sleepless nights rocking his own daughter, Lily, when she was the same age. Without hesitation, he wiped his hands on a towel, approached the booth, and gently picked up the baby. He whispered soft words, his rough hands oddly tender as he cradled her. From the kitchen, he pulled out a small pan, a few fresh ingredients, and began to cook not for a customer, but for a child who needed comfort. The sizzle of butter, the sweet scent of apples and cinnamon filled the air. And slowly the baby's cries turned into hiccups, then silence. As her tiny hands reached for the warm puree Marcus had made, moments later, the diner door swung open. And in stormed a woman draped in luxury emerald heels clicking against the floor, diamond earrings catching the light. Victoria Sterling, one of the wealthiest women in the city, froze in shock when she saw Marcus holding her daughter with the kind of care money could never buy. Anger first flashed in her eyes. How dare a stranger touch her child? But as she stepped closer, the scent of the food reached her, and she saw her baby nestled against Marcus's chest, finally calm, finally safe. She couldn't remember the last time her daughter looked so peaceful. Confused, she sat down, and Marcus placed a small bowl in front of her. "It's what I used to make when my little girl wouldn't stop crying," he said softly. Victoria hesitated, then tasted it. The simple flavor's apples, honey, a touch of cinnamon hit her like a wave of memory. Suddenly, tears welled up in her eyes, blurring the world around her. For years. Victoria had drowned herself in boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, leaving her child in the care of nannies while her heart hardened to survive in a ruthless world. But this taste wasn't food. It was love. It was her late mother's recipe, the one she hadn't thought about since she was a child herself. How could this humble chef know? How could he, in a tiny diner, recreate something that carried the weight of her entire childhood? Her tears fell freely now, not from sadness, but from a raw ache she had buried under diamonds and success. Looking at Marcus, she didn't see just a chef. She saw a father, a man who understood the language of love in ways no billionaire ever could. Her gaze drifted to his daughter, Lily, quietly coloring behind the counter. And she realized he wasn't just feeding her baby, he was feeding her soul. Victoria reached out, her perfectly manicured hand trembling as she touched Marcus's arm. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking. In that moment, walls crumbled. Money, status, power, all of it meant nothing compared to the warmth of one man's compassion. The baby cooed softly, as if blessing the fragile bridge being built between two very different worlds. For the first time in years, Victoria allowed herself to feel not as a CEO, not as a billionaire, but as a mother. Marcus didn't ask for recognition or repayment. He only smiled, gently placing the recipe card in her hand. "Every child deserves to be fed with love," he said simply. And as she held the paper close, she knew her life had shifted forever. This was not just a meal. It was a moment that rewrote destinies. And it all began with a crying baby, a single dad, and a recipe that healed a billionaire's heart. This was another emotional tale from Moonlight Story. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that touch the soul.